The lawyer looked directly at my brother and smiled. "Congratulations. The mansion is yours." My brother couldn't stop grinning. He shook hands with everyone in the room, already talking about remodeling the house and selling part of the estate. He believed he had won. But then, the lawyer unfolded one final page that nobody knew existed. One hidden clause. The smile disappeared from my brother's face. Within minutes, the mansion he thought he owned became the biggest mistake of his life. Stay with me until the end, because what my father planned years before his death changed our entire family forever. The day my father died, our family didn't just lose a parent. We lost the man who had held everything together. For 40 years, he had built a successful construction company from nothing. Every brick of that beautiful mansion carried his hard work. Everyone in town respected him. But inside our family, things were very different. My older brother, Daniel, had always believed he deserved everything. He reminded everyone that he was the eldest son. Whenever Dad praised me for helping in the business, Daniel would laugh. "You're wasting your time," he used to say. "Dad already knows who will inherit everything." I never argued. I simply kept working beside my father every day, not because I wanted his money, but because I loved spending time with him. Looking back now, I think my father noticed everything, every sacrifice, every selfish decision, every lie. He never confronted anyone. He simply watched. And he planned. The funeral was quiet. Friends, neighbors, and business partners filled the church. Daniel barely cried. Instead, he spent most of the day asking people what they thought the mansion was worth. Even then, something didn't feel right. I noticed our father's longtime attorney watching, Daniel with an expression I couldn't understand. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't anger. It was almost pity. 3 days later, our family gathered in the attorney's office for the reading of the will. Daniel walked in wearing an expensive suit and a confident smile. He whispered to his wife, "After today, we'll never have to worry about money again." I said nothing, because deep inside, I remembered something my father had told me only 2 weeks before he passed away. A sentence that made no sense at the time. He smiled weakly and said, "Sometimes, the greatest gift isn't what someone receives. It's what they must prove they deserve." At the time, I thought he was simply sharing another piece of life advice. I had no idea. Those words were about to change everything. The attorney adjusted his glasses and slowly opened the thick folder. The last will and testament of Richard Anderson. The room became completely silent. Dad had left generous donations to a local children's hospital. His loyal employees each received financial bonuses. Our aunt received the lake cabin she had always loved. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. As for the family residence, Daniel leaned forward with a grin. "The Anderson mansion is hereby left to my eldest son, Daniel Anderson." Daniel jumped to his feet. "I knew it." He hugged his wife. She laughed through tears. "We're finally the owners." Neither of them even thanked our father. Instead, Daniel looked straight at me. I guess all those years helping Dad didn't really pay off. The words stung, but I stayed quiet. The attorney hadn't finished reading. Dad had also left me his old pickup truck, his workshop, his personal journals, and exactly $1 from his private account. Daniel burst into laughter. $1? Looks like Dad wanted to buy you a soda. Everyone in the room looked uncomfortable. Even the attorney seemed disappointed by Daniel's behavior. Still, he calmly turned another page. "There is one additional legal condition attached to the transfer of the Anderson mansion." Daniel waved his hand impatiently. "Fine, read the paperwork. I'm sure it's just legal language." The attorney looked directly into Daniel's eyes. "No, this condition was personally handwritten by your father." For the first time, Daniel stopped smiling. The attorney unfolded a sealed document. The paper carried Dad's original signature. "I've instructed my attorney not to reveal this page until after my eldest son celebrates receiving the mansion." Daniel frowned. "What does that mean?" The attorney took a slow breath. Then he began reading the words my father had written months before his death. The room became so quiet. You could hear the clock ticking on the wall. None of us knew that the next sentence would completely change Daniel's future. The attorney unfolded the handwritten page with extreme care. His voice grew quieter. "These are Richard Anderson's own words." Daniel crossed his arms. "Just read it." The attorney nodded. "To my eldest son, Daniel, if you are smiling before this page is opened, then you have already failed my first test." The room froze. Daniel's confident smile slowly disappeared. "What kind of joke is this?" he snapped. The attorney continued. "A home is not a prize. It is a responsibility. If you celebrate receiving it before understanding why I gave it to you, you are not yet worthy of owning it." Daniel laughed nervously. "So what? The mansion is still mine." The attorney looked down at the next paragraph. "I'm afraid there's more." He continued reading. "The mansion will become Daniel's permanent property only after he fulfills one final condition." Daniel's wife grabbed his arm. "What condition?" The attorney answered by reading Dad's exact words. "For 12 consecutive months, Daniel must personally care for your mother inside that home. He may not place her in a nursing facility. He may not hire full-time live-in caregivers. He must be physically present and personally responsible for her daily care." The room fell completely silent. Daniel's face turned pale. His wife whispered, "What?" Dad's handwritten letter continued. "If Daniel refuses, misses more than 30 days, or attempts to transfer ownership before completing this responsibility, the mansion will immediately pass to my younger son." Every eye in the room turned toward me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Daniel slammed both hands onto the table. "This is ridiculous. There has to be another way." The attorney slowly shook his head. "Your father anticipated that response. He reached for another envelope, and he left one final message. Addressed only to you." Daniel's hands began to shake as the attorney broke the seal. Whatever Dad had written inside was about to expose a secret Daniel had spent years trying to hide. Daniel's hands trembled as the attorney opened the final envelope. Unlike the others, this one contained only a single handwritten page. At the top, Dad had written, "To Daniel, read this only after you hear the hidden clause." The attorney looked at my brother. "Your father wanted everyone to hear this." Daniel swallowed hard. The attorney began reading. "Daniel, if you're angry right now, it's because you're focused on what you're losing." Instead of asking why I made this decision, Daniel lowered his eyes. The attorney continued, 3 years ago, your mother collapsed while I was away on a business trip. My heart skipped. I remembered that day. Dad had rushed home early, saying only that Mom was recovering. None of us ever learned the full story. Then came the sentence that stunned the room. When your mother came home from the hospital, I asked both of my sons to help. Daniel slowly looked up. Dad's words continued. Ethan arrived before sunrise. He cooked. He cleaned. He slept on the couch for almost 3 weeks. Tears filled my eyes. I had never expected Dad to mention any of that. Daniel, you came once. You stayed 19 minutes. Before leaving, you asked me whether your mother's illness would delay transferring the company into your name. The room went completely silent. Daniel's wife stared at him. Tell me that's not true. Daniel couldn't answer. His face had gone pale. Grandma quietly began to cry. The attorney kept reading. That was the day I realized you wanted the house, but not the home. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Then the attorney unfolded one final page. This, he said softly, is the legal activation clause. He read aloud. If Daniel admits his mistakes, accepts responsibility, and fulfills the 1-year condition with honesty, the family remains together. But if he refuses, the mansion, its surrounding land, and every future ownership right shall immediately transfer to Ethan.